Hi, Gary Gallons here. Making a video to show anybody who's looking into getting into ice fishing, a beginner ice fisherman, or someone who's having a little trouble doing it. A couple things on how to set up a tilt, what to look for, especially when you purchase them. I'm going to show you what tilts that I purchased when I take my kids, because you only really want to take smaller kids, maybe getting panfish, bass, or pickerel. And I don't recommend bringing them really out on the ice unless it's 6 inches or bigger. They like to run around and everything, but they like to catch the fish too. Anybody who likes doing the outdoor sports, fishermen who don't mind the winter weather, might be something to look into. I'll show you what we're going to be using for the video. Things you definitely need to get it done. You're going to need your fingernail clippers. Either some mono or fluorocarbon line. I prefer mono. A number 1 eagle claw hook. A saltwater swivel. About 2 or 3 feet of mono is needed. A bead. A yarn bead. You can get hundreds of these at Walmart pretty cheap. Who knows, your grandma, mother, sister might have them handy. Not necessary, but helps. A mag light, 4D batteries inside it, a DeWalt drill, and a shit paper tube. Now, when you get a tilt similar to this, anywhere from $5 to $10. They don't come with much line, but enough for panfish, pickerel, and bass. You want to unfold it and make sure everything works. You want to make sure the flag's going to hang on the bends of the metal rod, that nothing's jammed up, everything moves freely, and it all sets up right. And the number one thing you really want to check, which this is probably one of the most important, is that your spool moves freely, and you want it to go clockwise, or else it's not going to set off the trap. Another thing you want to check is, unfortunately, you got to get the line off the whole spool and double check that knot, because when you buy cheap tilts, you get cheap knots, and you happen to put this in the water and a fish spools it, you go over there, that knot might not hold. I like to use an arbor knot. At least if it spools out, that knot has a chance of holding on the line, so you might have a chance of getting in that fish. First thing you want to do, you get your toilet paper. You put the fishing line, ice braid line, right in there. Then you get your drill and put it right in the tube, right on that line. Then you stop, reeling it a bit, get a few lines, and then take it to a whatever you prefer. I don't like to go too fast in case it binds up. If it binds up, it'll come flying at you. Helps to have something hold the trap down too. Now, I had already pre-tied this, but it's the arbor knot right there. And when you put the arbor knot down, when you put that on, you want to make sure when you pull on that line that the tightening action happens this way. That way, as that fish pull, that knot will stay tight. Now, you just take the tube off the drill. After you get your arbor knot on, get your mag light. Put this tube over the mag light. Get that arbor knot tight. And then make sure when you're putting the line on, you're going in that clockwise rotation. Because if not, when that fish pulls down, it's not going to set up off your flag, and it's going to jam up that wheel on your ice lever. And the reason for the mag light is just for when you're putting the line back onto the spool, it unravels and unwinds, and what that will do is help prevent any twists or tangles. Also keeps a little tension on the line. If you had to fix a reel and you undid your reel and you were saving your line, this method would also work if you ended up trying to reel on line back onto either a bait caster or a spinner rod, even one of them push buttons. This is probably the longest part of the process right here. The tube's brand new, it usually slides on the flashlight a little better. If you've used it a few times like this one, it can be a little tight. Just like that. Now, before you put on your swivel or your hook, you want to put on that bead, what I call your depth locator. Pretty much when you put the sonar on the hook and send your hook down to find the bottom, you want to put this bead right at the water level so you can tell how deep that is. And then you wind on the line and set your desired depth. First you want to put the string through the bead, come up and back down. That way the bait swimming down, the tugging's pulling down, it keeps that bead in spot. Pretty much when you're setting it, that's the only time it will move. Then, by using an improved clinch knot, because this is ice braid, you put it through your barrel swivel, make your knot, sometimes you got to help it slide a little, but you want to get a good little tug on that. And then you take your clippers, just a little bit off that knot, not too much in case it does slide a little, it'll still have a little piece to grab onto. Then just finish spooling her up, pack it away till you're ready to go out, or what I usually do is I just reset them up and make sure they're all ready till next season. Again, fun thing for your kids to do. My kids love to do it, but don't bring them out there unless they're 6 inches or more. But your basic setup, pretty much use any small, mediums, even possibly heavy shiners. But just set up for panfish, pickerel, and bass.